Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I actually wasn't going to post a video today, but I thought long and hard about this and I don't want to let days start going by without me posting just because I'm super busy at work. So I decided to take a moment, sit down and film this, I think, absolutely insane video for you. You've probably seen these videos floating around on YouTube where people show you their makeup collections and they do a bit of a decluttering, and since I love watching those videos, I thought I would film one of those videos for my own channel and share with you my makeup collection. But I'm gonna piece it out and start off with my eyeshadow palette collection. I may end up splitting this video into 2 or potentially 3 parts because there's just so much to talk about. As you can see, this is gonna be a pretty laid back video. I don't have any makeup on my face right now. This is the real Dimitra. Love me, hate me, whatever you want, but I would strongly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up as well to let me know that you're enjoying it. Without any further ado, let's dive into my palette collection. I'm gonna grab my phone just for a quick second so you guys can see what's happening in front of me right now, because it's a little crazy and very excessive. So here we go. I still have a drawer of Morphe palettes in there, but you guys can see I've got palettes stacked for days on my little desk over here. I've got bins sitting up there. There's a bin over there and then another one down here. It's a lot. Before I dive into all of the palettes, I do want to make sure that this is a judgment-free zone. Please do not judge the makeup collection that I have. I am also going to try and trim down some of this collection because I definitely don't need all of these. I guess I'm going to start off with what's on my immediate desk in front of me. And the first palette that I see is from The Balm. This is one that I picked up from Winners for $12.99, which is incredible. This is called the In the Balm of Your Hand Volume 2, and I like this one because it's got a bunch of different eyeshadow colors over here, and it also has some blushes and a bronzer, and of course the famous Mary Luminizer, which is a great highlighter from The Balm. I have yet to play around with this palette, so it's definitely staying in my collection, and I'll hopefully get to dig into it a little bit more in the coming months. You probably saw me talk about this next one here in, I think it was my Winners makeup haul video. It is from Cargo Cosmetics. This is the Getaway palette. Whew, there we go. I'm dropping a bunch of crap. The palette looks a little bit underwhelming, but the colors themselves are actually really, really nice. And you can just see a couple there on the back of my hand. This isn't one of those palettes that you scream, oh my god, yes, I need to buy it, but I think it's just a fun one to have in your collection if you want to play around with some more cool tone shades. I have another palette from The Balm here. This is a tiny one. It's called La Bamba, which I think is just so cute. And these colors are just so different. Tatcha, this beautiful blue color here, is the reason why I bought this palette. I don't think I have anything like this color in my collection, and it just spoke to me. A few other palettes that I ended up picking up from Winners do come from Clara Cosmetics. This is the number 2 and the number 3 palette. I love these because they are pure pigment. This number 3 palette is such a good essential matte palette. If you are close to a Winners, a Marshalls, a TJ Maxx, definitely look for Clara Cosmetics. I think they are a wonderful brand. They also have these rose gold palettes. They are multi-use palettes, so they do have a cheek highlighter in here, sometimes a blush product. The colors are beautiful, and I love that they're paired so well together that you can create an entire look with one palette. So this one that I just showed you is the New York palette. I also have the Paris palette in front of me, and it's definitely more bronzy in nature. Just beautiful. I have another palette here from Annabelle Cosmetics. This is called the Eye Tech palette, and I picked this up on a whim. It comes with a stupid flimsy brush, and I've played around with this a little bit, not much. I haven't been able to dig into all of the shades, but the more I look at it, the more disinterested I am in the palette. I actually think this is one of the palettes that I am going to be donating to a happy home. The next palettes that are in front of me happen to be staples for me. They do come from Dose of Colors. These are my Baked Browns, my Sassy Siennas, Blushing Berries, and Marvelous Mauves palettes. And I have been using these so much over the last couple of months that they stay on top of my vanity, not even in my drawers anymore because I just reach for them so frequently. I also have a couple of underrated palettes from Pixi by Petra. Pixi palettes are relatively new to me. I did purchase these a while ago. I just never got around to playing with them. So they basically sat brand new in my drawer for, I don't know, I'd say the better part of 6 months. I hate these flimsy brush tip applicators, are so dumb. Anyhow, what I may end up doing with these palettes is putting them on top of my vanity and forcing myself to play with them because the color schemes are actually really beautiful in these and the formula is really nice and creamy. They're definitely a lot more pigmented than what I thought they would be, and I think it's just poor decision making on my part for not playing around with them a little bit more. I've got a palette here from e.l.f. This is their Prism eyeshadow palette in the style Sunset, and I really like this palette. This was actually one of the first ones that I picked up from LA when I went there for the first time. I just loved the colors. They were so beautiful, very, very versatile for the summer. As much as I love this palette, I also haven't reached for it in years. So I think I am gonna end up donating this to another happy home. Next up is this palette here from NYX. It's part of their Perfect Filter collection. This is in the style Olive You. Kind of a play on I Love You. NYX, you're so clever. I was initially drawn to this palette because of the green shades, and this isn't something that I really have in my collection, but it's also something that I don't really play around with, so I'm not sure why I still have it. I didn't really like the other NYX Perfect Filter palettes that I had either, so this one here is also gonna get donated. I've got a couple of drugstore palettes. I've got one from CoverGirl over here. This is the Jewels palette, which I really do enjoy using. It's so beautiful. These tones are stunning. The formula is phenomenal, and I've actually used this quite a bit. I've also got this one here from Maybelline. It's the Total Temptations palette. I'm gonna hang on to it a little bit longer and see what I can do with it. I also have a bunch of the Maybelline City Mini palettes. I think I picked up almost every single one in the collection. I do enjoy using these, although I don't think I've played around with every single color in these palettes, but they are absolutely beautiful, well put together, and this is something that you can certainly travel with that is definitely affordable. Speaking of drugstore palettes, I do have every single one of the Milani eyeshadow palettes. These are absolutely stunning, and next to these Maybelline City Minis and I think some of the Rimmel Magnifies eyeshadow palettes, I would strongly recommend you pick some of these up. I also have two palettes from Jouer. I bought both of these when they first launched, and to be honest with you, I don't think I like them. I did do a review, I believe, on both of these palettes. This one here is called the Essential Matte and Shimmer palette, so it's definitely more warm tones, more neutral. What it comes down to for me is the formula, and that's the one thing I really don't like about these palettes. And it's not like the formula has anything wrong with it. I'm sure it'll work great for others, but I just have so many other eyeshadow palettes and other formulas that I prefer that this one doesn't really get touched anymore. And same goes for this one here. This is the Springtime in Paris Matte and Shimmer eyeshadow palette. As much as I enjoyed working with it initially because of the colors, I have never reached for it since. And so these two here are gonna get donated. I did do a dedicated review on this palette. I'll link it below for you. This is from Rimmel. It is a Magnifies Color Edition eyeshadow palette. And look what I found. I found the Little Huda Beauty Mini Obsessions palette. This is in the shade Mauve Obsessions. This is one that I actually really like. One of the newest brands that I've been exploring is Colored Rain, and I started off by actually picking up the Queen of Hearts palette. This used to be really popular when it first launched, even though the price tag on it is a little expensive, but these colors are just stunning. They are incredibly pigmented, my goodness. And they wear so well. You cannot be disappointed with this palette. And if for some reason you are, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, look at that foil color. My God, it doesn't get any better than that. And because I ended up really enjoying the Queen of Hearts palette, I went ahead and picked up one of these little mini palettes over here. This is in the style Berry Cute, and I just loved these colors. Of course, they are on the berry side, more purple toned, which you know is one of the colors that I'm leaning more towards lately, but I just thought it was so pretty. These colors are just awesome. Next up is this chocolate bar palette from Too Faced. Still love it, still occasionally use it, gonna hang on to it. I also have a bunch of these older palettes over here that I used to reach for all the time when they came out. You can see how well loved this one is. Of course, one of the reasons I enjoyed using these palettes here is because they are a one and done look, and they basically pair everything together for you. So there is little to no thought process involved when you are trying to create an eyeshadow look. I do have a couple of MAC palettes floating around here and there. There's this one here that I ended up buying because of one of Tati's recommendations, but I feel kind of stupid having bought it because I don't like cream shadows, nor do I ever use them, and that is all this palette is. It's called the Glamorize Me Cream Eyeshadow Palette. So you've got these beautiful colors here that I just never use. Here's another palette from MAC. This was from the Mariah Carey collection. I really do enjoy these colors. I don't use them very frequently, but they are neutral, great for everyday wear, and because they are custom shades that Mariah Carey herself created, I definitely don't want to get rid of this palette. I know I have another Makeup Forever palette somewhere here, but I can only find these three right now. These ones here I ended up picking up when they were on sale, and I did it because I love the Makeup Forever formula. So this is the number 3 palette. I also have the number 2 palette that looks like this. It is one that I have used just a little bit more than the other one. And then I have one of these holiday palettes. So this was a holiday collection from I think a couple of years ago now. And these colors here also just spoke to me. These aren't palettes that I reach for regularly, but because they're Makeup Forever, I just can't stand apart with them. You may remember from a while ago, I did start a segment that was very short-lived called the 5-minute review, and I did do a 5-minute review on this little shade and light palette from Kat Von D. This is in the style Plum. Still gonna hang on to it. Why? Because it's purple. I also have a crap ton of palettes from Tarte. There's this one here called the Sex Kitten. It does happen to be a smokier type of palette. It's just a good general palette, but it's not something that you kind of reach for every day. Oh, it also smells really good. There's also the Dream Big palette, which is beautiful. You have nice shimmery shades in here, a couple of matte colors for transition. It's definitely a good overall palette too. I don't want to get rid of this one. This one here is called Throw Kindness Around Like Confetti, as people normally should. And the colors in here are definitely beautiful, neutral, similar to the Tarte formula that you know and love. Gonna hang on to these two. One of my ride or die palettes does come from Tarte. It's the Tarte Pro palette, or Tarteist Pro palette, whatever you want to call it. I just love all of these colors and how well they work together. Love that they're all paired so that you can create looks using each row, and you've got a really nice metallic color over here after you work with a bunch of matte colors. I have this NYX Lid Lingerie palette. The colors are okay. I don't know. I don't reach for it very frequently. There's nothing wrong with the formula, but I think it'll do better in another home, so this one's getting donated. Of course, my Danger Control palette from NARS is still alive and well, even though this shadow looks a little bit destroyed. I think I dug into that one a little bit too hard. I'm still gonna hang on to this palette even though I don't reach for it very regularly now, but I am hoping to get a little more use out of it over the summer months. I've got this Tom Ford palette that I did a holy crap review on. As nice as this palette is, I mean, these colors are beautiful purple. This is number 13, Orchid Haze. It is not something that I reach for regularly at all, but I think I should put this at the top of my list of palettes to use because I certainly want to get my money's worth. I've got a Pure Cosmetics palette. This is the Pure and Etienne Ortega palette collaboration. I think it is beautiful. These colors are very neutral. Don't reach for it frequently, but love the formula. Gonna hang on to it. There's also my Pure Soiree Diaries palette. This is one that I also use relatively frequently, but probably not as much as you would think, just because there are other single shadows that I kind of lean towards more so than this one, but the formula is still wonderful. Pure Cosmetics, you guys know how I feel about this palette. I'm not gonna say anything more except hell yeah. Same goes for my Visionary palette, which remains top shelf. This is another hell yeah. My Pure Cosmetics and BoxyCharm palette is still more of a TBD. I haven't really played around with this very much, but I am excited to dig into it. I've got this Vice palette from Urban Decay. Again, beautiful, bold colors. None that I really use frequently, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna donate this palette because I really don't use it. Reaching into another drawer, I've also got this other Vice palette. This is the Beauty with an Edge palette. Just dropped the brush, and as you can see, it's still pretty much brand new. I haven't really touched this, but the reason I bought it was for these beautiful green colors here. Oh, as much as it pains me, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and donate this one too. I have almost every single Morphe palette that has come out, including these two right here. This is the 25A palette, and this is the 25B palette, and haha, this gigantic Morphe holiday palette. This palette here is gigantic. Oh my god, like look at my head and look at the size of this palette. It is ginormous, but you have just about every single color you could want to create a fabulous look. So this is certainly one that is gonna stay in my collection because I am gonna get my money's worth with this one. I've also got the Moondust palette from Urban Decay in addition to those Vice palettes, which are now getting donated. I was the dummy who paid full price for this. Had I known it was going to be one of those palettes that went on sale, I probably would have held out because this certainly isn't worth its full price. Lithium is one of my favorites, and I also really like Element just above that. It's this fiery sort of orange pink color, and these here, oh my goodness, they look beautiful on the eyes. I do have all three of the Naked palettes, which I used to be ride or die for. These were some of the first high-end palettes I ever purchased. Actually, no, it wasn't the original Naked, it was the Naked 3. This was, I think, the first palette I ever bought from Sephora, and I loved it. But I haven't used this palette since I started with this makeup obsession. I've got so many other ones that I dig into that these just kind of fell off the bandwagon for me. The original Naked, of course, is an original classic. I think there are some amazing shades in here as well, but again, it's not one that I reach for anymore. The Naked palette that I was most disappointed with was number 2, and I'm gonna be really careful in lifting this up because these shadows have all come unglued and they all fall out. Actually, maybe you guys want to see. So all of those have just fallen out. I don't know if it's just really bad glue or this has just been hanging around in my collection for so long. Really disappointed in this one, and the colors are just blah. For nostalgic reasons, I think I'm gonna hang on to the Naked 3 and the original Naked, but I am gonna donate the Naked 2 palette. We're down to the last few palettes on my immediate desk. I do have the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I did go ahead and purchase this. It is a stunning palette. The colors are beautiful, but I stand by my dupe video in that everything that you see in this palette can be duped. I also picked up a couple of palettes from Wet n Wild, which again are floating around in here somewhere. This one here is a really fun one. It's called Not a Basic Peach, and I love it because it has really nice pops of colors and of course more of a warm undertone, so I'm certainly hanging on to that. They also came out with these smaller versions over here, and of course I had to pick up the purple one. And then of course there is the Physicians of Formula little mini quad. I do have a purple one that is again floating around somewhere here. This one here is called Classic Nudes, and it is a very wearable palette with a super creamy and buttery formula. There's these two here from Marc Jacobs. I actually really enjoy these formulas here. If you are looking to venture out into the Marc Jacobs eyeshadow world, then definitely consider picking up some of these. This one here is called Editorial, and this one here is the Starlit. This is one of the older palettes that he initially came out with, and this one here is one of the newer ones. I'm gonna end the video here. That is gonna be part 1. I will post part 2 very, very soon, of course, as soon as I finish filming. I know I sped through some of these palette reviews, but this video really isn't about reviews. It's more about showing you what I got and what I'm gonna hang on to. So that's why I went by a little bit faster, but truly, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up to show me that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to also connect with me on all of my social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and I'm gonna link everything in the description box below for you. I hope you are all having a magnificent day, no matter where you are in the world. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.